All right. It's official. The U.S. debt finally topped 20 trillion. It jumped 318 billion in one day. Okay. Following Trump's signing of the last Friday on a short-term debt ceiling, government funding hurricane aid deal, thanks to Democrat voters, the U.S. Treasury finally freed from the shackles of debt ceiling, which it hit nearly 1 year ago, and which meant that the U.S. federal debt would be a roughly 19.808 trillion for months. See, a lot of people have not been reporting to you that the debt has been sitting at, okay? And I don't do enough on this myself, but the debt ceiling, I love the way it gets framed in the media, okay? The debt ceiling is being raised. But what they don't tell you is it's like a dam, and they have not been able to legally add to the balance sheet for your and mine. People always get this wrong. Your and my debt. I love when they say the national debt and they gloss over it, and we look at it as though, wow, this nation's in debt. Oh, okay, let me go down to the mall. No, our national debt, your debt and my debt, okay? Period. So they gloss over that the debt's been in a can. Nobody talks about that the debt showed up at 19.808 trillion. Now, I did this a while back, okay? This has been almost a year that every time you looked at the balance sheet for the national debt, it did not go up, okay? Now, the debt did not actually officially cross. Let's get this clear. The debt did not officially cross the 20 trillion mark while President Barack Obama was in office. Did not. Because Paul Ryan made everything he possibly can work for Barack Obama in his last year. Now, I'm sorry, okay? But that's a bottom line. The Republicans did everything they can to make everything work. They did not want to upset the apple cart on anything, cause any kind of confusion during the election, hoping that they would get enough Republicans in office and enough senators that with Hillary Clinton they could stop her maybe. Just to bear the thought. But the point is Barack Obama left office, and he will be able to say he left and the debt was 19.808. They will officially be able to, because it is true, nobody will report it anyway, that the debt crossed the $20 trillion mark with President Donald Trump. You will probably find articles out there that says Trump's administration, in just 8 months, Trump adds $318 billion to the debt in one day. I guarantee you can find articles with that headline. It's not true. Furthest thing from the truth. They could not legally add to the balance sheet. Okay? Well, no more, according to the latest daily Treasury statement. Okay? The daily Treasury statement, they put it out there because people buy and trade based on these numbers out here. According to the latest daily Treasury statement, as of Friday, total U.S. debt surged by $317.6 billion in one day from its Thursday closing. Thursday it was at $19.845 trillion. Following the short-term debt suspension, which kicked the can to December 8th to finally raise above the psychological barrier of 20 trillion. Okay? Yes, 20 trillion, 162 billion, 176, 797 904. Now, what does Mitch McConnell have to say about this? Okay? Folks, this show is piecing everything together as well as I possibly can do it. And I think it's something that we have to take and run with. And I hope that we can get this out to enough people. So what we know, we've talked about the swamp. We've talked about generations, the next wave in 2018 of the Trump coalition. Now, you heard Justin Simmons say yesterday he supported Donald Trump. You heard him say, that's in Pennsylvania 15th District, that he supported Donald Trump. You heard him say that he voted for Donald Trump. But here's the point. The debt has been over $20 trillion. Now listen close, because you're going to have to do your own research later in the day on this. The debt has been over $20 trillion for a long time. Okay? But Republicans, let's get this straight, folks. You know, who's in charge, right? The optics of every damn thing. I try to tell people all the time, perception is not reality, but perception is real. Okay? It's real. So the optics is, right here in this article, like it says, to be precise, the perception is that the psychological barrier, okay, of 20 trillion. See, when Obama was there, it was 19 trillion, 19.8, right? Trillion. Never crossed the 20 trillion mark. Obama gets to go and say he didn't cross the 20 trillion mark. It's a psychological barrier. It's a whole different thing than going around saying it is actually 20 trillion, 162 billion. We're well on its way to 21 trillion, okay? And it will go there. The point I'm making that I'm not getting to fast enough that I will right now. The Republicans did the shell game. I should have 3 cups on this table with a ping pong ball right now. And I should be rolling them around so you can't find the debt for a year. You can't find it for a year. But it's really there. And there's one day you wake up and there's $318 billion. Damn it, let me ask you a question. Let's bring this all the way home. You can't pay your power bill. You can't pay your car insurance. You can't pay your house payment. You're working 60 and 70 hours. I don't meet people. You know, I meet 2 different kind of people. I meet people that don't work at all, damn it. And I meet people that work 70 hours a week. I'm serious. That's who I meet. 70 hours a week, 60 hours a week, or don't work at all. Anyhow, the point is you wake up, you're working 70 hours a week, 60 hours a week. You're trying to make something happen because you believe you were sold this bill of goods that you could really do something and make money and all these things, these dreams you have. And a federal government allows $318 billion in one day to get added to your balance sheet to move it to 20 trillion 162. Here's where I'm going with this. The Republicans played the shell game. I got an answer for this. Listen, the Republicans played the shell game for a year. The Republicans did this. Guess what? Mitch McConnell's out laughing at Democrats today. Why is he laughing at Democrats? Well, they did not get the deal. They did not get the deal the way they think they did. They did not get quite the deal they think they did in the 20. This is articles are out there. You can read them. A New York Times article. I read this article, okay? Well, Democrats, Nancy and Chuck didn't get quite the deal they thought they did because we wrote the deal. And we wrote language in there that is going to allow us to play the shell game again till well after the 2018 election is settled. And then we'll add another. See, you read the article. Mitch McConnell tells them, I'm pretty sure it's New York Times. Read the New York Times article. Mitch McConnell tells them that he is going to play the shell game again. And he can move it around. And he can move the debt all around and keep it paid but not show it up on what? The debt subject to limit, the balance sheet that goes out. Again, they're going to do it again. He said, hey, we wrote it. It's going to be after the 2018 election. So you're not gonna know out there, because what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen is you're gonna get another, because who comes on the show? Who comes on and tells you, hey, for a year? If you went and looked at the balance sheet for a year, because it's out there, the national debt, how long has it said for a year? 1 year ago, it is said almost for a year, 19,808,000,000. Nobody asked, why is it sitting at 19,808,000,000? Because the interest is running, the debt is running. Why? But it went $318 billion in one day. That's the shell game the Republicans played, not the Democrats. And you wonder, you understand the last year that they played the shell game, everything here, the debt went up $318 billion again with Republicans in place. Now Mitch McConnell is bragging that Nancy and Chuck didn't get quite the deal. He wrote it. And he has mechanisms in there to where he can play the game again, to where the debt doesn't look like it's going up and there's no debt ceiling fight. You do your own research on that and you come back and tell me, all right? You tell me if somebody's really serious about the debt. I've come to the opinion that they're not serious about it. And they're not, and when any politician stands up on a stage and says, we have, I mean, look, I know we're going to get in an argument over this. You have so many reasons that you don't see Rand Paul's way. I have several subjects on Rand Paul that I don't side with. But let me tell you something. There's a lot of things I side with Rand Paul on. I'm your host, BKP. I just wanted to tell you, 20 trillion, 318 billion, one day, and Mitch McConnell's out bragging he could do it again. I'm your host, BKP.